This is how it is with corporations. They can do whatever the fuck they want. They can be absolute psychopaths, pay a little parking fine when it's all said and done, and then go about their business. Just go marching along. DuPont has agreed to pay $12 million for a deadly gas release in Texas. Basically, DuPont has agreed that a human life is worth roughly $4 million. So, or $3 million. So there were 4 people killed by this gas leak, 4 employees, and we'll give you $3 million employee. So that's $12 million. And you go live a good life. Not the dead ones. You're not going to live a good life. But the other ones, whoever collects his money, the families, you enjoy yourselves with that. Because that's what we think a human life is worth. Well, roughly $3 million. I mean, I'll give you, I would say 2.5, but all right, we'll say 3. We'll say 3. And in case you don't know this, $12 million to DuPont is what they earn in 6 seconds, I think. Let's see if I can find out. How much profit they made last year. Revenue in U.S. billions of dollars. In 2022, DuPont made $13 billion. So let's see if I can find out the percentage. So that would be 0.09% of DuPont's income. They just paid 0.09%. 0.09% of their yearly income for murdering 4 of their employees. And, well, I'll get to that. DuPont pleaded guilty to Clean Air Act violations in federal court Monday and was fined $12 million for a 2014 chemical release at its Houston area plant that killed 4 workers. In addition to the fine, EI DuPont Demores Inc. agreed to make a $4 million community service payment to the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? Sure, we were pumping toxic gas and chemicals into the water and the air, but here's a couple of $1 million for some fish. You know what? Just go and hand it to the fish. We actually dumped the money, dollar bills into the lake, and the fish can have it. They can just have it. We doing that because we love the fish. By the way, after you use that money to take care of some of the fish, any chance we could get a taste of that? Not the money, a taste of the fish. Any chance you could sushi up some of that fish for us that we helped fund? Any chance? One of the pesticide ingredients the company used was methyl mercaptan, a colorless gas with a putrid smell. Methyl mercaptan occurs naturally in minute amounts in animal tissue, decaying wood, radishes, and other plants, but it's deadly for anyone who breathes in amounts greater than 150 parts per million. DuPont did not follow its own policies for venting hazardous chemicals after a pipe containing liquid methyl mercaptan became clogged, according to the federal indictment, under the impression that the high pressure in manufacturing equipment was due to the usual buildup. Crystal Ray Wise opened drain valves on November 15, 2014. The pipe was still full of the chemical. As the liquid drained from the pipe on the 3rd story of DuPont's manufacturing unit, it vaporized into gas and escaped into the air. Wise died instantly from asphyxiation, as did 3 other DuPont workers who tried to help her. Within hours, 24,000 pounds of the gas had seeped out and injured DuPont workers inside and out of the building and wafted downwind into the neighboring city of Deer Park, Texas. So it wafted into the city. Lovely. I'm sure that doesn't have any long-term effects on people. And yet still, the fine that DuPont is paying, $12 million. $12 million, 4 people dead, many others harmed. Who knows what it did, lasting damage to Deer Park, Texas. And this is how it is with corporations. They can do whatever the fuck they want. They can be absolute psychopaths, pay a little parking fine when it's all said and done, and then go about their business. Just go marching along, killing, murdering, destroying environment, destroying people, all for profit. And they don't care. There's not a moment that they even sit and think for a second about those victims. They don't care. They don't care at all. And that's the system that we've built. If they were to care, they would then lose their profit margin. They would then not be one of the biggest companies in the nation. So the more sociopathic, the more psychopathic you are as a corporation, the easier time you will have climbing that ladder. And so eventually, given a long enough time scale, you end up with the biggest sociopaths at the top of those systems. You know, they say history arcs towards justice long term. Yeah, well, our system of capitalism arcs towards sociopathy at the end of the day. It may take a while to get fully there, but it happens. It's inevitable every time. And you can see this with corporations down the line. What are the biggest, most successful corporations in this country and many ways in the world? But it's Monsanto. It's people. They put out Roundup herbicide across the nation. They know for years it's causing cancer. They don't care. They continue producing it, continue profiting. Cargill, one of the most destructive big ag companies, they own a portion of every part of the farm to fork network. From the growing, the manufacturing, the transport, every bit of it, Cargill has part of their fingers on it. And they actually can create starvation when they feel like it, when it's good for prices around the world. Totally disgusting. Dow Chemical, their horrific spills and harms they've done over the years. The opioid epidemic, you have Purdue Pharma and so many others, the harm they've caused. More than 1 million. Let's see if we can pull up this article. More than 1 million Americans have died from the opioid epidemic. And that's actually an old number because that was as of 2021. More than 1 million Americans killed by the opioid epidemic. That is not accidental. They knew what was happening. I mean, it may have initially been accidental, but they knew what was happening and they kept pushing it. They knew the bodies were piling up and they kept pushing it. So, and these companies are egregious, harmful entities, and they own our government. They own our government. When our government does step in the rare occasion that our government does step in and do something, like with this DuPont chemical release where that killed 4 people, when our government does step in, let's see, it only took 8 to 9 years to actually have anything come out of this, and it was $12 million. It was a DuPont parking ticket after 12 years of legal battles. That's what that's considered our government holding them to account. Just insanity.